You've probably heard about Claude Code and Claude Skill or a skill MD file or something about Claude Skills. But how do you actually build working skills? How do you actually build skills that convert into real money that save hours every day and every week and every year? In this video, I'm going to go through exactly how you can build a skill, how you should think every time you create a skill using Claude Code. Let's get into it. So first things first, what is a skill? You can think of a skill kind of like a recipe. And I've created this short list and we can go through it together. So, Claude Code skills, a recipe. Why is it a recipe? Because it is reusable. You can write it once and Claude can use it and remember it forever. You just type something that remembers it as a skill and Claude will automatically know that this is a skill. It's kind of like you telling a chef that I want spaghetti and meatballs, and then the chef goes and gets a recipe for spaghetti and meatballs, and then it will create it for you, and you don't have to give it instructions on boil the water, make the pasta, everything. And so in Vocable, you just type the skill name, just like I said, and Claude follows the steps, like pulling a recipe card from a box, just like I told you. So it will follow this simple checklist when creating a skill, and in just a minute, we're gonna go over how you can actually make Claude use smart planning when creating the skills. They're also teachable. You can bake your own knowledge. You can create them however you want. I think a lot of people who present Claude skills present them as something that's hard to do. You have to create a skill MD file. For people who aren't that technical, they might be scared and think, oh, this is probably technical and probably hard. But it really isn't, because you can actually have Claude create everything for you by you just explaining in real text what you actually want. And the last, or the fourth point is automatic. Claude can recognize when a skill fits the situation and apply it without even asking. So that's the great thing about AI and large language models, is we don't have to do all the reasoning ourselves because the AIs will help us with that. Next up, I want to show you this practical roadmap of how to create a skill, because like I said, this video is about how to actually create a skill, not just about what a skill is or great skills to build, but this is about how to actually build a skill in Claude. So, you always want to start off by planning your skill. So in Claude Code, you can choose different modes. You can choose to edit automatically, you can choose plan mode, and you can choose to override all boundaries, for example. So you always want to start out in plan mode. So that means the AI model will only be planning with you and you'll be brainstorming an idea. And so here you can see, tell Claude what you keep doing repeatedly. For example, I always ask you to review my code for security issues and readability. Let's turn that into a skill. So you have to ask yourself, what things am I doing repeatedly that could be done using AI? And then you just tell Claude while in plan mode, and then you start planning together. How can we do this? And then you want to tell Claude, when you've done some reasoning and configured that, okay, maybe this sounds like a good plan, maybe we could try this. Just say, create a skill called Code Review that does what we just discussed. Claude will create the folder and the skill MD for you. So you don't even have to create a skill MD or a skill MD folder, anything. Claude can do everything that for you. You basically just need to accept its bash commands, really. And when Claude has created the skill for you, so you now have a beta skill, you have the first skill made, then you can ask Claude to tell you, like, what did you create and how will it work? And you can tell it to explain to you simply, so you really try and understand, like, what is actually going on. And then, like it says here, review and refine. If you want to make changes to it, you just simply tell Claude, no, perhaps I would like this to first ask me if I want to do this way or that way, or ask me if there's another way to do this, or ask me, for example, if I want to try a different approach. So you always want to be active with Claude, always refine, always tuning, optimizing it so it fits your way of doing things. So just like it says here, ask Claude to show you the file it created, read through it and say things like, also another feature, or please change this, just like I said. And then you just keep on testing and improving. So you trigger it with the /name. That's the great thing, you can just create this /name. For example, I built a website builder, so a tool that will scrape Google Maps and take businesses that don't have a website found on Google Maps, and then AI will create a full website for their niche and for their company that fits their niche and everything based on their competitors and relative niche websites. And so I can basically just put a slash and then it's called web, so slash web, and it will do everything, and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I have a perfectly made website for a company. And if you want to check that out, you can hit me up in my DM, and I can tell you exactly how you can build a slash web, so you can create website for businesses in 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, but just like I said, test and improve. Trigger it with the slash name you gave it a real file, and if the output isn't quite right, you just tell Claude the skill missed XYZ and tell it to update it, and keep doing it until you succeed. And success, I mean, I usually change my skills. So for example, if I'm using a skill for one thing, I use it for something that could be a little bit niche. And then, for example, if I move over to another thing, for example, if I'm building websites for a specific, or for my for local businesses, then I will tell it to, hey, use the local businesses around where I live. And for example, if I want to build for a broader audience, then I might say you can use, for example, the entire Europe or the entire US or anything. So you can always refine, optimize, and improve your Claude skills. Now let's do a practical build, so a real example, and create a real skill together. So let's jump into Claude Code and build something great. So now we're in Claude Code, and let's now go ahead and create our first skill. So I want to create a skill that can organize my inbox and help me make labels to emails and therefore organize them in structured folders. So now I'm first just going to click on the plan mode. I'm just going to write what I'm doing often that I want to change, just like we had in the prompt that we just checked out. Enter. Okay, and so now Claude is going to basically plan this skill out with me and think about how we could structure this and how we could organize it and create this skill. Okay, and now we get to choose. So I will choose it for my Gmail because that's what I use for my email, and I want it to be fully automated. And what kind of labels do you want? I like this. This is great from Claude. I want it to be. I want to have urgent. I want to have clients and projects, email types, and action needed. Actually, maybe not this one. This one's. And you see there was also other, so I could also ask Claude to add other labels if I want, for example, family related or sports related or school related, which I also could add later. So now we're just going to allow Claude to search through our skill MD and check if there already is a skill, and also check our Claude MD, which is basically our brain. The Claude MD is the kind of master prompt behind you as a developer, and so it's just going to read my files now and check out guidelines and yeah, basically just guidelines and structures on how it's supposed to create skills. So you can also check out a lot of other videos on YouTube on how you can create a great Claude MD. I'm also going to record a video about Claude MD next week, so you can. Now we can see, now I have everything I need. Let me design the plan. So now we're still in plan mode, still creating a plan. Of course, this takes a little bit of minutes, a little bit of time, but creating a skill usually takes, I don't know, 15 to 30 minutes or an hour. I mean, it could take a lot of time, but it's creating a skill that takes time, because then if you just spend a lot of time creating a great skill, you can save hours every single day if you create useful skills. So that's why it actually matters to put a lot of time and effort into actually creating a skill. And as you can see, I just auto accepted all these bash commands that it asks for, just because it's just like this: checking existing Gmail auth implementation for reference patterns. And so this is a project I've been using or building. So now we're just going to wait until it's done. Okay, and now it has created a plan for us. So in the meantime, I auto accepted a couple of these bash commands, but it was basically just simple stuff like reading emails and everything. So we have the plan. So Gmail labor skill, we can use the context. What will get built, uh, and then the standalone. So these are basically just, we have the labels that I chose that I wanted. So urgent, inbox, inbox follow up, and here I can actually do like this, or I can click on add comment, and I can say, for example, uh, please also add a school label. And I can also just say that in the, I could just also say no, keep planning. Here we can see this is just basic stuff really, so we can go ahead and accept this. And now it's going to read the full skill MD, so the skill MD file, and then find where to create it. I have actually also created a document, a 5 bullet point document on how to create a great Claude Code skill. So if you want to check out that, you can check it out in the description below. It is completely for free, and it's just a simple, practical roadmap or tool to use whenever you want to create a good skill. Just to, get the structure and the overall optimization structure for creating a great skill. Okay, and now it's actually done, so now we can check. So here it says done. The slash inbox skill has been added to skills.md. So this means every time I type slash r slash inbox, it will run this skill. So first one, Cloud writes the Node.js script and runs npm install and watch to Google Cloud Console alt setup one time. So this is still in the setup process. So we'll have to set up a Google Cloud Console auth. And then after that, it will catch or fetch the 50 most recent unread emails, and it will show the categorization table and then wait for confirmation, applies label and bulk. Structure in Gmail didn't actually update with, so I will just tell it to please also add a school label for emails. So now I will go into Cloud Console and just configure this email. And you can also, if you want to create this exact skill, you can just ask Claude how you want to do it, but it's, it's a privacy thing, so I don't really want to show it. But so I will go and fix that now. Okay, and now I finally configured the Google Console configuration, so now we can just try the slash inbox. Now we're just going to click yes, but it's going to skip the phase 3 because both credential and token JSON exist. Okay, and so now we created the 50 labels, so now I get to reply yes, and I also can change if I want to exclude number 3 and number 7 because they are Google Cloud projects. So I'm just going to type yes. So it fetched now all of the existing or all of the 50 last emails that I've gotten in my inbox, and it's now labeling all of the emails. Okay, so now it applied labels to 50 out of 50 emails. So we have newsletter, social media marketing, inbox, and school. And so I can actually, if I go over to my inbox, you can see this is how it looks. We have newsletter. So everything is now labeled in a structured format, and we just created a Claude skill that now will run every time I hit slash inbox. It will run and fetch the 50 latest emails, and it will then organize them and make labels to them. This is just a simple setup and a simple skill to create, but it can still save a lot of time and save a lot of stress because it could be quite stressful to have thousands of different emails, which I have in my inbox. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like. And if you want to check out the 5 bullet point PDF that I created, which has a full roadmap of 5 bullet points on how to create a great skill, you can check that out in the description below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.